Students, welcome to SKH Life Explorer. So today we will be learning about correction of errors. While we prepare our trial balance, we need to make sure that trial balance is reflecting the true numbers. So there should be no error in the trial balance, because if there is any error in the trial balance, that error will move forward in the income statement and the statement of financial position, which will not reflect the true numbers. So let's start. So when we talk about the errors, there are two types of errors. The first, errors that do not affect trial balance, which mean in this case our trial balance is equal, but there can be some errors in the trial balance. How we can find that, we'll see. The second type of errors, the errors which actually affect the trial balance. So in this case, in the case of second types of errors, the trial balance is not equal, so which mean we can easily find out why it is not equal, so we can review our account. So we will learn the both types of errors, but in today's lessons we will see errors that do not affect trial balance. So students, before we complete our trial balance, we make sure that all the evidence such as our invoices, our vouchers, we make sure those have the correct numbers on that. So we do the verification first before we sum up our trial balance. So there are three types of errors that do not affect the trial balance. The first type of error is error of original entry. It means that while you are recording the transaction on your invoice, the amount was correct, but you recorded it wrongly. For example, you sold something to Mr. A for 50, but instead of 50, you wrote only 5 or 500. So this type of error can happen when you are recording so many transactions at a time. It's normal. The second one is error of principle, which mean you change the principle. Mean instead of asset, you record something as an expense. Instead of income, you record something as liability. So these type of errors are called errors of principle. The third one is error of complete reversal. Complete reversal mean when you switch the sides of accounts while you are recording the transaction. For example, when you deposit cash into bank, you debit bank and credit cash. But instead of doing that, you do opposite. You debit the cash and credit the bank. So it means that your amounts were okay, but you switched the places of credit and debit accounts. Now we'll see this with the help of one example, and I'll teach you that how you need to practice for this. For example, the first one, paid for repairs 200, recorded in machinery account. So we know that the repairs are our expenses, but machinery is our asset. So it means that the first error is the error of principle. So how to record that? The first portion, the first part of the error is always the original entry, which means the true entry, what we were supposed to do. So first we will record the original entry. So we should do, but we did not. So paid for repairs. So we paid for repairs. So repairs account is debit by 200, and the credit is cash account by 200. This is what we should do. But instead what we did, which is called wrong entry. So in the case of wrong entry, we actually did machinery account debit by 200 and cash account is credit 200. Now you need to have a focus here. So while we did the wrong entry, the one account we recorded it correctly. So I will just highlight it with green. So it means this account is recorded correctly. But one account we did not record it correctly, that is machinery account. So instead of repairs, we debited the machinery account. So if we want to correct this entry, we cannot temper the or do overwriting in our books of accounts. So in this case, I have to correct this systematically. So if I have done something debit by 200 and if I'll credit it by 200, so it means that entry is cancelled and this entry will not have any effect on our accounts. So if I credit machinery account by 200, so you see I rectify this mistake. So this was my first mistake, that I recorded machinery instead of repairs. And what was my other mistake? The other mistake, I did not record repairs at all. So repair expense was never recorded. So we will record it now as a correct entry. So repairs accounts will be debit by 200. So this is the correct entry. The account which was entered correctly, we don't need to touch that, but only the mistakes that we have done, we need to fix those. So this is how we record our transactions for errors of principle. Now let's go to the second one. So bought goods from peer trading 2600 recorded as 260. So you can see that this is error of original entry, which means we recorded the accounts on correct side, but we wrote the amount wrong. So this is called error of original entry. So let's write the correct entry first. The correct entry should be purchases account debit by 2600 and peer trading account should also credit by 2600, but we did mistake. We record purchases 260 and we record peer trading by 260. So it means we have understated both accounts by how much? So we need to have a calculator for that. So if you see, it means that instead of debiting purchase by 2600, we only debit the purchase by 260. It means our purchase account is recorded $2,340 lesser. So we need to correct that. So instead, in case to rectify that, we will debit the purchase account with 2340. So I will debit the purchase account with 2340. Now if you see that this 260 is already recorded, this entry is never recorded. This I recorded by mistake. So already 260 recorded. So now I will only record 2340 more in both account and it will rectify this mistake. So this is how we do. If we would have written it overstated, we had to reverse that transaction. But you need to see the error first. Now the next entry is quite interesting. It says paid salary 250 recorded as salary received. So it is complete reversal, which means that you paid salary. So the correct entry should be salary account debit by 250 and cash account credit by 250. We should do that, but we never did. Remember that original entry is the entry which is the actual entry, but we never recorded that. But what we did instead, so salary account debit, what we did, we recorded as salary received. So it means that we debit the cash by 250 and we credit the salary by 250. So look at that. Now how we can correct? Here we made a mistake. The first mistake, we never recorded the salary. The second mistake, we recorded the salary on the wrong side. So instead, we will debit the salary now by 500. Why 500? Because if I will debit with 250, this 250 will only cancel this mistake. But we have to record the salary as well. So 250 plus 250. So this is how it will, 500. And the same for cash. So cash should also be credited here by 500. So this is how we record the error, we rectify the error of complete reversal. So students, these are the errors which actually do not affect the trial balance. Why? Now, because look at the mistake that we have done. In both accounts, we have done the mistake. So it means that the both account are recorded with mistake. So as per the double entry system, the debit and credit side is equal. So there will be no effect on the trial balance. The trial balance is only affected when debit and credit are not recorded. One of them is missing. For example, if I would have done that I have recorded in purchases account 260, but in peer trading account I would have recorded correctly 2600. So in this case, this entry will affect the trial balance, but that is our next topic. So you can watch this video again if you feel you didn't understand any specific thing. The next we will be learning about the errors that affect the trial balance, inshallah. So don't forget to subscribe and like and keep sharing. Thank you.